In today's video, we're going to be going over a massive leak on a highly anticipated PlayStation 4 open world title, a game that hasn't even been announced yet, but most are speculating that it will be coming in 2019, and it is Ubisoft's Watch Dogs 3. We have an idea of where the game is going to be located based on a rumor, and it is getting backed up, so I do want to go over all of that. Also, Devil May Cry 5 is scheduled for a release in March, and we now know when the reviews are going to be posted. They will be up on March 6th, so I do want to talk a little bit about that game. Speaking of Metacritic reviews, the reviews have been posted for Trials Rising as well as Stellaris Console Edition, so I'll be taking a quick look at that. One Piece World Seeker is one of the more underrated hidden gems coming in March. An open world One Piece game, that has me a little bit interested. We've got 26 minutes of new gameplay, and honestly, seeing the gameplay has me a little bit less excited, but I'm still interested in seeing what One Piece World Seeker could turn out to be. And lastly, we have an idea of what you're going to be able to do in the Division 2's open beta, and that'll be kicking off very soon, so I do want to go over that at the end of this video. First up, Watch Dogs 3 is one of those games that a lot of gamers are excited for. Unfortunately, it hasn't been officially announced, but I think the majority are expecting the game to be released this year, and a new 4chan rumor is suggesting a lot of things about the game, and Game Reactor has backed up those rumors. The signs are that Watch Dogs 3 will indeed be set in London, and that Ubisoft will follow their formula of letting the player choose the gender of their character. The parkour system has also apparently been improved to make it easier to reach higher places. The rumors actually make a lot of sense because if you played through Watch Dogs 2, they added a new ending to the game around 3 months after the launch of the game, and the ending was a phone call coming from DedSec saying that they had gone global, and some coordinates in the background pointed to London. England was never mentioned again in the game, so it seems like Ubisoft started pointing towards a sequel all the way back then. Watch Dogs 3 is a game we have been expecting to be released for quite a while, and it makes a lot of sense for Watch Dogs 3 to be released this year because rumor has it that there will be no new Assassin's Creed game this year. I'm sure that Ubisoft wants to put out some new open world game for the holidays. Watch Dogs 3 would be a game that would suffice as that title. I believe Watch Dogs 2 released all the way back in 2016, and if you go back to that, Watch Dogs 2's release year didn't have a new Assassin's Creed game. It had the release of the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, but that was all. Maybe that's their game plan going forward. They want to alternate between Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed releases. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that would be a lot better than milking out releases of, say, Assassin's Creed, even though that's the more popular franchise. You need a little bit of variety, and I think that's the best case scenario. We also went over an Assassin's Creed leak yesterday, and it does point towards a new Assassin's Creed game being released in 2020. Watch Dogs, on the other hand, the franchise hasn't resonated as much as Assassin's Creed. Unfortunately, Watch Dogs 2, while it was a significant improvement upon the first Watch Dogs, it just didn't hit that same level of commercial success. Let's see if Watch Dogs 3 can turn the tides on that. Hopefully it will be released in 2019. We know that Ubisoft has plans for some major games before the end of this fiscal year, and I could definitely see Watch Dogs 3 being one of those games, and it looks to be set in London. Moving on from that, we've got some information, some Metacritic information. The Devil May Cry 5 reviews will be going up on March 6th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. The game officially releases 2 days later, so that is when we're gonna know about Devil May Cry 5 and how that game does. If you want a history lesson on Devil May Cry and its Metacritic scores, Devil May Cry 1 got a 94. That was all the way back in 2001. They went from a 94 all the way down to a 68 with Devil May Cry 2 in 2003. That game just wasn't received all too well. Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening bounced back a little bit, and then Devil May Cry 4 got an 84. That was the 2008 release. Kind of crazy, since the first Devil May Cry game, it's been super inconsistent, with DMC2 not being all too great, DMC3 and DMC4 being very good, but not hitting that threshold like DMC1 did of a north of 90 score. Let's see if Devil May Cry 5 can do that. I don't expect it, since north of 90 is pretty hard to hit, but we'll find out March 6th, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Speaking of Metacritic, some scores went live today, including for Trials Rising. That game has an 81 on Metacritic, so that's being received very, very well. GameSpew noting that Trials Rising offers phenomenal value for the money. The tried and tested gameplay has been refined to perfection. There are more than 100 events on offer, and its multiplayer modes are a blast. Any Trials fan should expect to get dozens of hours of gameplay out of Trials Rising, which is not to be sniffed at. They gave the game a 9 out of 10. Destructoid, on the other hand, gave the game an 8, saying even if you never end up touching the head-to-head online multiplayer, local co-op, ambitious track editor, or any of the ensuing user-made creations, Trials Rising will keep you plenty busy at launch. Some of the out-of-the-level elements could use another pass, but progression, pacing issues, loot box bloat, and technical hiccups weren't enough to put me off of what is ultimately another great Trials game. Again, the game is sitting at an 81 on Metacritic. Also, another game that has had its reviews posted, Stellaris Console Edition. Stellaris is a 4X grand strategy game that made waves on PC, but now it's making the transition to the PlayStation 4, and it seems to be doing pretty well. PlayStation Universe gave the game a 9 out of 10, saying the only offering of its ilk on PlayStation 4, Stellaris Console Edition squeezes a galaxy of emergent strategy, discovery, and story onto Sony's home console with very little compromise. Stellaris is certainly the biggest, if not one of the best pure strategy titles you can get on PS4 right now. The 6-Axis was similarly kind about the game, saying a solid port of what is easily Paradox Interactive's most accessible grand strategy game. While Stellaris has evolved and grown over the past 3 years on PC, the base game is still a good solid grand strategy title with some intriguing ideas for storytelling and managing an endgame, though without some of the depth of their other titles. More importantly, wrapped a controller and TV-friendly interface around the game that puts control over even the grandest of empires well within your grasp. They gave the game an 8 out of 10. Again, Stellaris Console Edition is sitting at a 77 on Metacritic. Moving on from that, One Piece World Seeker is one of those March game releases that's going really under the radar, but as I saw a little bit of gameplay of it, I got interested at first, but they just recently released 26 minutes of gameplay, and I do have to say that the game looks a little bit bland. I'm still interested in it on the basis that it is an open world One Piece game, so it's different than all the other One Piece titles. It should be noted that One Piece, generally when you compare it to all of the other anime video game offerings, it's just not as strong. Naruto is relatively consistent in its video game offerings, as is Dragon Ball. One Piece, on the other hand, there haven't been a lot of great One Piece games. I was really hoping that World Seeker would be that game, but based on this gameplay, it does look a little bit bland, does look a little bit shallow, but I still have hopes that it'll turn out to be a pretty decent game. Probably not a game I would say buy it at $60. I said that in our what to buy video, but if you are the most avid and hardcore of One Piece fans, you know, you're probably gonna buy it anyway just to support the IP. But I still have hopes for the title. I'll leave the 26-minute gameplay demo in the description box down below. Check it out for yourself. I don't think it's something to get all too impressed about, but hopefully the final product does turn out to be okay.
というところでですね、そろそろ山登っていかないとゲームが始まらないので、早速海兵がいるんですが、ここからバトルアクションに移っていきます。でこんな形でですね、結構ルフィの気持ちいいコンボが決まっていくんですけど、実はこのコンボ自体は四角ボタンポンポンポンって連打するだけでちゃんと決まるので、ゲームが詳しい方はもちろんなんですけど、ゲームにあんまり慣れてないなってお客様にもぜひ遊んでいただけるんじゃないかな。
Lastly, of course, the Division 2's open beta will be kicking off on March 1st, so what are you going to be able to check out with the open beta? Well, you'll be able to take on 3 main missions, including a new mission not playable during the private beta from early in the game, and you'll also have a chance to experience what awaits you in the challenging endgame, and take on other players in multiplayer PvP matches. Just like the full game itself, the open beta is playable solo or with up to 3 friends. Now, it'll be kicking off on March 1st, and it'll be running until March 4th, so you got a couple days to check it out. Also, if you check out the open beta, you'll get a couple of rewards: the DC Patriot weapon skin, Capitol Hill arm patch, supply crate backpack trophy, and Capitol Hill backpack trophy. Open beta preload begins February 28th at 1 a.m. Pacific time, and the beta will be playable starting March 1st at 1 a.m. Pacific time. The Division 2 launches on March 15th for the PlayStation 4. After the lackluster success of Anthem, I do think that gamers are going to look towards another new multiplayer game to jump into, and the Division 2 might turn out to get a lot of added success just on that factor alone. And again, to give you an idea of everything that'll be available: 3 main missions, 2 missions from the private beta, 1 new exclusive mission, an open world with 5 side missions, control points and activities, Dark Zone and Conflict, Dark Zone East Skirmish 4v4 of PvP mode, an endgame 1 invaded mission, and 3 specializations. That'll be running March 1st to March 4th, and the game will be dropping March 15th. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, Watch Dogs 3 rumors are starting to come out. Will the game be set in London? Watch Dogs 2's ending definitely pointed towards that. And we know that Ubisoft is prepping up some major game releases before the end of this fiscal year, which is March 2020, so bear that in mind, but I do imagine that Watch Dogs 3 would be out before the end of this year. Maybe an E3 announcement, maybe we get the big gameplay reveal at E3, that's what I would imagine. The Metacritic score for Devil May Cry 5 will go live on March 6th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. All the reviews will be out then. You got any predictions for what the game is going to be scored at? Let us know in the comments. Trials Rising reviews have been posted. It's got an 81 on Metacritic. Stellaris Console Edition's got a 77. 26 minutes of One Piece World Seeker gameplay have been posted. The game's got me a little off-putted at this point, but I'm hoping for the best. And again, the Division 2's open beta will be kicking off March 1st. You'll be able to take on 3 main missions, PvP, and experience some endgame content. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.